The biggest lie in learning English or any other language is that you need to try harder. The truth is, your brain is wired to reject new languages. There's a science behind this, and there is a science of resistance. By the way, if we haven't met, my name is Nant or Coach Nant, and I've been doing this for 15 years. So I taught students in primary, secondary, college, and in recent years, I also coached business executives and young professionals to up their game. So let's talk about why learning a new language is hard. First is your brain is too good at your first language. So it's like a master. It mastered your native tongue or your native language. The problem is that your brain is a super expert at your native language, like a specialist roadmap. Imagine like an employee having this specific task and it rejects other tasks aside from the original task that is written in the contract. So it's the same thing. So there's a resistance. This expert road make it hard to build new different roads from new sounds and rules. So imagine that you have a coworker who is very resistant when it comes to new responsibilities. So it's the same thing with your native language. So your brain, through the years, you learned and acquired these words, vocabulary words, and it won't accept new or foreign languages. But you're not a bad learner if you realize that you cannot uh, learn fast, learn English or any other language fast. Your brain is just a pro at its first job. So it's like a specialist when it comes to speaking the language, reading, writing. So it does not accept new or foreign language. Number two is you need people, not just apps. So these days, I know there are lots of apps. You can use AI to learn the language. And with the research or sources that we read, there's a discovery that babies only learned new sounds when a real person was teaching them. So screens and audio didn't work. So there's this experiment like American babies. So they were given the chance to talk or interact with Chinese or Mandarin teachers. And with that experiment, so they exposed these kids with learning Mandarin, and there's a separate group. The separate group was exposed to the same people, but they recorded everything, like it's in video and audio, and it showed that those who interacted with the real people, like in person, they learned and they were able to recognize the sounds in Mandarin. And imagine that when we were babies, our brains are very flexible. Like it can recognize all of the sounds, like the human sounds all over the world. There's a study like that. They say that babies can recognize these sounds, but as we grow older, when we reach 6 to 12 months, that's a time that our brain is starting to lose that plasticity, neuroplasticity. And with this, it shows that those babies that were exposed to media like recording on TV and audio, they did not learn at all. So what's the reason? Your brain or our brain has a social lock. And what we call the social gating theory. In other words, you need a human connection to tell your brain, okay, this is important. So I should start learning. So it's the same thing. When you just uh, learn on YouTube and you don't have the time or the chance to practice like on your own, it's passive listening. So it's not enough. So you must talk and interact with a person, and that includes interaction like face-to-face interaction, and if you also have a chance to interact with them via different channels like Zoom or Google Meet or Discord. So that's an opportunity for you to have the active learning. So that's why they also say that there's this social learning theory, like people are social, so we tend to learn when we interact with other people. So this research might link to that saying that we are social creatures or social animals. Number three, getting worse at sounds is actually progress. So when you are first exposed to a new language, you notice yourself that you mispronounce a lot of words, but it's a good thing. At least you are trying to enunciate the words correctly. So the surprise: as babies learn their native language, they get better at ignoring sounds from other languages. So with these experiences, like what they did with the babies, the American babies. They interacted with the Mandarin instructors or teachers, so they were able to absorb the sound of the Mandarin or Chinese language. And when you start to ignore other sounds from other languages, this is called perceptual narrowing. So your brain is learning that what to keep. So like when we say gatekeep, we when we gatekeep, you try to avoid other people or other things to enter that certain entity. So it's becoming an expert. So what to absorb and what to throw out. But there's still a chance. Okay. So if you can't hear the difference between the new sounds, it's not a defect. It's just normal. So expected result of a brain that has already learned to be a master filter. So that's normal for you to reject those new sounds or new languages. So that explains, like, there are PhD students or adults who are motivated. They know that they need the language, they know that they need English in their profession. But why? Why do they have a hard time learning English? And we have the hack for that. Number four is hack your adult brain with baby talk. So, as adults, uh, we tend to be serious as we grow older. And they say that the key is you can trick your adult brain by using methods babies use, like baby talk or Parentese. So you use exaggerated, stretch out sounds. Yeah, that's why if you notice, sometimes when we try to demonstrate how to pronounce things, I try to enunciate the words like with a TH, with a voice TH, and voiceless TH. I try to exaggerate the sound. So it's the same thing. When you're learning English or any other language, you try to exaggerate. Okay. give emphasis to the words. And that also connects to our cadence. Like when you are in business English or you are an executive, you try to give emphasis to the words that are very important. So try to use this exaggeration techniques. So you learn in a fun social setting with many examples. So no boring flashcards or correct or incorrect scolding. Like when you were learning in a high school or maybe a primary setting, when you are in elementary, your teachers tend to um, to scold you. Like I remember when I was growing up, I heard so many languages. So there's Filipino or Tagalog, and we also have Thai and English because my parents, my mother used to communicate with my dad in English. So I always hear English. But I also hear other languages. So maybe my brain kind of learned how to absorb those accents and different types of communication techniques. And as I was when I was growing up, my sister and I used to sit down like every morning because my Thai grandma, she's a public school teacher, so she served the government for a very long time, and she's a very good teacher with a classic Thai grandma or Thai teacher who tries to to hit you. When I remember when I was trying to write those Thai letters and alphabets, she used to hit my hand because I cannot write it correctly. So those are good memories. Learning Thai. This social and varied approach makes your brain process the new language faster and smarter, like a native speaker's brain. So with this social interaction, there's this theory that you gain uh, knowledge or knowledge of that specific language by social interaction and by doing the exaggeration technique. They tried to do a study with Japanese who are learning English, and they try to exaggerate words with letter R and letter L because in that region, also in Thai, people are struggling with the R and L sounds. So they try to exaggerate. And with this technique, they showed a significant improvement with how the Japanese learned English. It showed an improvement with their R and L words, how they perceive it and how they were able to communicate those words. Number five, your old classes are still bugging you. So these are past experiences. So there was this study that they tried to check the people who are in their professional life, like PhDs, and there's this thing that stood out, and this thing is the resistance because of past experiences. So the struggle isn't all about brain cells. Your bad memories of past language classes can stop you. So it could be like a bad experience with your previous English teacher or when you were in high school. Maybe you joined a class, like a group class, and when you try to speak up, people laughed. So you feel that you were isolated. So these factors, or maybe even a boring class, these factors are past experiences and they can contribute to your brain resistance. That's why you don't want to focus and learn the language. So history will be boring textbooks. boring textbooks, teachers talking too much, and the fear of mistakes. So you have this learning anxiety and giving you that fixed mindset. So, fixed mindset is that you think that you're too old, you cannot learn those tricks anymore, you cannot learn that new language anymore. So, you have this negative self talk saying that you can't succeed in learning English or any other language that you're trying to pursue. So what's the fix? You can find a learning method that is fun, supportive, and focused on real talking. So you can find groups like uh, there might be people on Reddit that are trying to learn English or any other language, and you might want to join and participate in their online class. So it's not just passing the test. So we know that if you're in your PhD, you would like to get your master's degree, you're just focusing on passing the TOEIC, IELTS, TOEFL, and there should be like a deeper reason why you are learning the language. So don't let your past stop your future. Okay? So, what's the winning strategy? I think you should shift your thinking. Just don't fight your brain when you feel that your brain is trying to resist learning a new language. You try to work with it, and we should all think like a scientist. So you should be able to figure out what your brain needs, and will there be a human interaction involved? If you are an introvert, most people say, or most of my students, they say, teacher or coach, I'm an introvert, so I don't really interact with other people. So if that's not your thing, you can still interact one on one. So if you have a buddy or a speaking partner that you can practice with, that's fine. So most introverts that I know, they don't want to practice like in big groups. So you prefer to have like a one-on-one. So that's fine. That's why in classrooms, I remember when we had our professional learning day, there's this thing called think pair share or TPS, because there are students who are not very vocal. What we do is that we try to pair those students, and the introverted students just try to express their ideas by talking to their partners, and then they think first, they pair up, then they try to brainstorm, and then the one who is more extroverted, maybe that's the term, the one who is not too shy, that's a person who expresses the idea. So at least the person who is introverted still had a chance to interact with the other student, and at least they can still bring out their ideas to the world. So if you are introverted, you can use this technique, like find a one-on-one, like a buddy or best friend. You might have like a best friend who speaks English. Just try to talk about anything. Try to talk about food, travel, anything that interests you, and you will be surprised with the results. You will be more confident, and you will also be culturally rich. You will gain a lot of experiences from other people. They will share with you what they experienced in the past, so you can also grow, not just in English but as a person. And there's also this thing called, going back to the previous slide, we have the baby talk or exaggeration. I remember during our previous professional learning day, they also taught us that exaggerating words while you're doing it can also help. That's why in some programs or workshops, they are doing English with the things that you do or your hobbies. Like if you are trying to cook, you try to exaggerate everything. Like, I am now squeezing the lemon. Okay. So it's easier for your brain to pick it up, pick up the words because you are trying to exaggerate everything. Like when you say huge, you say huge. That's why there are teachers like that. If you notice, if you go to schools and there are teachers who exaggerate everything because they are trying to share everything, like it stimulates your brain to be able to hack your adult brain. So you don't want it to be like very close minded, or you try to make it you try to increase the plasticity of your brain. Okay, so these are the workaround or hack that you can do in order for you to be better English learner or any other language, to get to imbibe or to learn those words and phrases. Think like a scientist, okay? So you should be able to figure out what your brain needs. So it can be social interaction, like a one on one buddy style, and human connection, or you can also practice in different settings, like give it a space. Like try to practice in one location and try to move to another location. And you might find those space more interesting and more suitable for your learning. Because if you feel safe, if there's a safe space, you learn better. All right. So if you reach this part of the video, thank you so much for sticking with me. And I know that you're serious with your English. So if you need one on one coaching, don't forget to send us a message by going to our website. That's thenglishcrew.com/contact. And you should also share this video with your friends or families if you find it helpful by also hitting the like button so that it will be recommended by YouTube to other learners. And that's it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.